Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 1-2 of May-June 2013. This is paper 1 of AdMath O-Level. So as always, in this video, we are going to be doing all the questions one by one and step by step. Now with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have the Venn diagram shows the universal set, which is everything, right? And here we have set A and B inside as shown. You can see that B is a subset of A from the diagram. So first one is the number of elements in B is 5, so it has to be 5. And the number of elements which is not A outside of A is 10, so outside of A will be 10. Okay, and it gives you that the everything, so the total number of elements is 26, so everything will be 26. So let's call this one x for now, but we know how to find x because we know that 5 plus x and plus 10 have to give you 26 because everything is 26. Now to find x will be 26 minus 15, that will be 11. So x will be 11. And what is that value here? You can see that it is the number of values which is only in A, not in B. That's what it means, 11 values. Now let's move on to questions 1. So we have to find the number of elements which is in A and in B. That will be 5 according to the Venn diagram. And then we have to find the number of elements which is in A. So let's count. A will be this big set, so 5 plus 11. That will be 16. And then we have the number of elements which is not in B and has to be in A. So basically it will be outside of B, but inside of A that will be 11 according to your Venn diagram. That is your question number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. So a 4-digit number is to be formed from the digits 1, 2, 5, 7, 8 and 9. Each digit may be used only once, so that's the condition, only once. Find the number of different 4-digit numbers that can be used if there's no restriction. So basically, we have the numbers 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, and we want to form a 4-digit number. So let's put 4 space 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's no restriction, but we can use them only once. So for the first choice, you can choose anything. So we have how many choices? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 choices for the first number. Let's say we choose 1. Now for this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices. Let's say we choose 2. And then we have 4 choices. Let's say we choose 5. And then you have 3 choices. Let's say we choose 7. So your answer will be 6 times 5 times 4 times 3. That will be 360. Now, that will be one of the ways you can find the answer. Or if you want to, because you know the formulas as well, you can use your formula. So personally, I think this is the best way to do those questions because it helps you to understand. The formula is easy as well because you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are all different. You have 6. And then we have to permutate 4-digit number. So that should give you the same answer as well. So let's check. 6 permutate 4 will be same value. So you can do this by this one or by this one, should give you the same value. Now for part 2, the 4-digit numbers are divisible by 5. Now the question for you guys is, how do you know a number is divisible by 5? The number will end in 5 or with 0. Right, that's only one you know. It will be divisible by 5. So now let's write down the numbers we have. We have 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9. So from what you can see, we have only one way of ending the number, which is by 5. If that makes sense, right? So let's go. We have 4 digits, so 4 space, right? So we have only one way to end our number, which is one way, which is only 1, 5. And for the rest, it can be anything. We can choose, so 5 is gone. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. 5. Let's say we choose 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 options. Let's say we choose 2. And then you have 3 options. Let's say we choose 7. So your answer will be 4, 5 times 4 times 3 times 1. That will be 60. So 60 will be your answer for part 2. Now for part 3, the 4-digit numbers, here we have 2 conditions. It is divisible by 5 and are bigger than 7,000. Again, we have the numbers 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9. Now again, it needs to be divisible by 5, so we have only one ending possible, which is 5. And for it to be more than 7,000, the number has to begin with 7, 8, or 9. Right. So same steps, write down your 4 space for your 4-digit number, right? So we have only one way of ending, which is 5, right? That will go away. And we have 3 ways of beginning for it to be more than 7,000. So 3 ways. Let's say we choose 7. And for the rest, it can be anything. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 options. Let's say we choose 1. And then we have 3 options. Let's say we choose 2. So your answer will be 3 times 4 times 3 times 1. So 3 times 4 times 3 times 1. That will be 36. So 36 will be your answer for part 3. And this is your question number 2. Let's move on to question number 3. So we have to show that this minus this is equal to 0. So let's see what can we do. So let's expand this on one side. So let's play with that. So we can rewrite this as 1 minus cos theta minus sine theta. It's the same thing. We just rewrote it. Square. Now what happens if you expand this? Let's try. You will have 1 minus cos theta square minus 2 sine theta times 1 cos theta, and then plus sine square theta. Right. Now we have to simplify. So this will give you 1 minus 2 cos theta plus cos square theta, and this will give you minus 2 sine theta plus 2 sine theta cos theta, and then plus sine square theta. Now we can combine those two. So this combined with this, that is sine square theta plus cos square theta, that will be 1. So you have 1 plus 1 is 2. So you have 2 minus 2 cos theta minus 2 sine theta plus 2 sine theta cos theta. Now one thing we can do here, we can take out 2 from what you can see. Let's take out all the values of 2. 2 will be outside. You will have 1 minus cos theta minus sine theta plus sine theta cos theta. Now we can play with those inside to see what can we do. Now let's leave this by itself for now. Let's look at these two. If you take out the value of, let's say, sine theta, you will have cos theta minus 1, for example. Now we can take out the minus 1 outside. You will have minus sine theta, that will be 1 minus cos theta. So basically this thing became this thing. Now if you observe, this and this are the same, so we can also factorize this out. But first let me rewrite this down so you guys can understand better. So right now I have 1 minus cos theta on one side, and then I have minus sine theta, 1 minus cos theta on one side. So this and this are the same. You can take it out, factorize, right? So you have 2, and then this will be 1 minus cos theta, and you will have, this is 1 here, 1 remaining, 1 minus sine theta. Okay, so we can rearrange this so it looks the same as the other one. That'll be 2, 1 minus sine theta. That'll be 1 cos theta. Now if you observe, this will be placed here, right? So right now you have, let me put this back up. So this one you will have is, this one became 2, 1 minus sine theta, 1 minus cos theta. So this minus this will be 0. If that makes sense. Let's write this down. So replace this. So replace this back. Replace in main equation. You will have on the left side 2, 1 minus sine theta and 1 minus cos theta minus 2, 1 minus sine theta, 1 minus cos theta. And that is indeed equal to 0 because you can, it's the same thing minus the same thing, that should be 0 and shown as required. So of course that is one way of doing the questions. If you want to, you can just expand everything, stop here, and then take the other one, expand everything, you will get the same thing, then you just have to minus to cancel out everything. So this is one way of doing this, and this is your question number 3. Let's move on to question number 4. So we have to find the set of values of k, for which this curve lies above the x-axis for all the values of x. Now what is the equation of the x-axis? It is y equal to 0. So now for you to understand, we are trying to find the values of k for which this is your axis, x, for which our curve here, what is the shape of this curve? You can see it is positive 2. You'll have this shape. For example, it has this shape. It needs to be above the x-axis, above. So which means this curve and the x-axis does not touch with each other. So therefore, if they don't touch, we have no roots, no real roots. Then that means b squared minus 4ac has to be less than 0. So let's do that. Let's solve simultaneously for these two equations. So you will have 2x squared plus kx plus 2k minus 6 is equal to 0. Now this is your a, b, and this is your c. So b squared minus 4ac, b squared is k squared minus 4 times a times c. Let's simplify. That will be k squared minus 8, 2k minus 6, k squared minus 16k plus 48. So factorize. We have to find the critical values here by placing equal to. That will be k, and 48 is 12 times 4. To get minus 16, we have to have minus 12 and minus 4. So your critical values will be k equal to 4 or k equal to 12. Now this is not your answers. We have to use your graph to find the answers. The graph is, this is your line, 0. And since this is a positive value of 1, your graph will have a shape like this. Now this is 4 and this is 12. And from what we can see here, we need the values to be less, has to be less than 0, below the 0 line. So from this you conclude the values of k has to be between 4 and 12. And this is your answer for question number 4. Let's move on to question number 5. The line 3x plus 4y equal to 15 cuts the curve 2xy equal to 9. So they cut each other at 2 points, at points A and B. Now we have to find the length of AB. So for example, we have a curve like this, and we have a line like this. They meet at 2 points, A and B, and then we have to find the length of AB, line AB. But first you have to find the points A and B. So the points A and B are the points of intersection of these two, so we have to solve them simultaneously. So let's make y become the subject. 9 over 2x. Replace y in the main equation. You have 3x plus 4y is equal to 15. Simplify. That will be 3x plus 18 over x equal to 15. Now we have to multiply by x everywhere to eliminate our denominator. So you will have 3x squared plus 18 equal to 15x. So 3x squared minus 15x plus 18 equal to 0. Now we can just divide by 3 everywhere. You will have x squared minus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. Now we can factorize. That is x. This will be 6 is 3 times 2, so 3, 2. To get minus 5, we have to have minus 3 and minus 2. Of course, equal to 0. Now x will be 2, x will be 3. So these are the two possible points for my a and b. Now our equation here is, we know that y is equal to 9 over 2x. So we can simplify. So y will be 9 over 4, or y will be 9 over 6, which is 3 over 2. So the points A will be 2, 9 over 4, and B, that will be 3 and 3 over 2. So now we have to find the length of AB. So length of AB, we can find this by using the formula, which is square root of x1, so x2 minus x1, that will be 1 square, and plus y2 minus this square. So 3 over 2 minus 9 over 4 square, that will be 9 over 16. So simplify these two plus 1 square root, that will give you 1 over 4. So this is your length of AB. Write down units, or you can write that in terms of decimal too, 1.25 units as well for the answer. And that will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. The normal to the curve of y a plus 2 equal to 3 tan x at the point where the curve is this. It cuts the y-axis at the point P. Find the point P. So now we have to understand what they are asking you for. So basically, let's first make a drawing so we can understand. So let's say this is your curve. It looks something like this. For example, doesn't really matter, right? Like this. And now what are we saying is that the normal to the curve at this point, let's say this is the point x equal to this value. The normal to the point means a line that crosses the curve at 90 degrees. Let's call this line N, normal. And this line here, it will cut your y-axis at the point P. Let's say this is my y-axis. You know, y-axis has to be a vertical line, right? So it cuts my y-axis at my point P. So we have to find the point P. That is my question. So first, how can you find the point P? You can see that the point P is found by the intersection of the line N and y-axis. So first you have to find the equation of line N, right? Now this is a straight line N, of course. So to find the equation of a straight line, you have to first find the gradient of the line. So to find the gradient of normal, we must first find the gradient of tangent, because they are related to each other. So we know we have a formula here, which is gradient of normal times gradient of tangent have to give you -1. So gradient of normal is equal to -1 divided by gradient of tangent. So if we can first find this, and then we can find this one. So now one thing you should know by now, gradient of tangent is equal to dy by dx at the point x equal to 3 pi over 4. So let's first find dy by dx. So we have to use our equation. Y plus 2 is equal to 3 tan x. So we have to make y become subject. That will become 3 tan x minus 2. So from this we can find dy by dx. So dy by dx will be 3 sec square x minus 0. So that is the same thing as 3 over cos square x. So we have to find the value here at x equal to 3 pi over 4. So let's do that. 3 divided by, so we have to use radians, cos 3 pi over 4 square. That will be 6. So since you know the gradient of tangent is 6, you can derive from this, we can see that the gradient of normal is equal to minus 1 over 6 according to our formula. Now from this point you have to find the passing point here. What is this point? We know the x value is this. We have to find the y value of that point. So let's use a different color here. Let me use red. So we know that x is 3 this. So what is y? We place back in the equation. So y is equal to 3 tan of x is 3 pi over 4 minus 2. So let's try. 3 tan of 3 pi over 4 minus 2. That will be minus 5. So let's try just to make sure. 3 tan of 3 pi over 4 minus 2 minus 5. Good. So the passing point is 3 pi over 4 and then minus 5. That is this point right here. Now we have to find the equation of the normal. So step by step, it's not done yet. So equation of normal. Using this point and my gradient, that is x, y of course. So y minus minus 5 become plus 5 over x minus 3 pi by 4 should give you the gradient. Now we cross multiply to see what happens. So you have 6y plus 30 equal to minus x plus 3 pi over 4. So 6y equal to minus x plus 3 pi over 4 minus 30. So this is your equation of your normal. But now the question is, we have to find the point P. The point P is the normal intersecting your y-axis. So you guys must know by now at y-axis what happens? The value of x is 0. Replace that in your equation. You will have 6y equal to 0 plus 3 pi over 4 minus 30. So basically y is equal to 3 pi over 24 minus 5 divided by 6, right? You can simplify this to divide by 3. That'll be 1. That'll be 8. So pi over 8 minus 5. So the point P will be x is 0 and this value will be pi over 8 minus 5. This will be your answer for question number 6. Okay, now let's move on to question number 7. It is given that f of x equal to this equation. It has a factor of x plus 2 and leaves a remainder when divided by x minus 1. So let's look at that one by one. So first thing first, you know it has a factor of x plus 2. So what is the value of x? X plus 2, we have to equate to 0. You see x will be equal to minus 2. So it means that if you take minus 2, put in your function, the remainder will be 0 because it is a factor of this function. So let's do that. 6 times minus 2 cubed is minus 8, minus 5 times 4, minus 2a plus b equal to 0. So let's simplify. 6 times minus 8 minus 20, that will be minus 68 minus 2a plus b equal to 0. Let's make b become the subject. You will have 2a plus 68. That is my equation number 1. Now for my equation number 2, we have to use the other information. It says it leaves a remainder when divided by this. So same steps, x minus 1 equate to 0, x will be 1. So it means that if f take the value of 1, it will have a remainder of 27. So replace back in your equation, you will have 6 times 1 minus 5 times 1 plus a times 1 plus b has to be 27. Now simplify, this will be 1 plus a plus b is 27. So a plus b has to be 26. Now replace this one in here. You will have a plus 2a plus 68 has to be 26. So 3a has to be minus 42. So a will be minus 14. Now taking this value, find b. B will be 2 times minus 14 plus 68, and that has to be 40. So it is shown as required. B is 40 and a is minus 14. Now part 2, we have to show that f of x equal to something like this, where p, q, and r are integers to be found. So let's do that. So we have to do long division. So right now we know f of x is equal to 6x cubed minus 5x squared minus 14x plus b is 40. Let's perform long division. That will be 6x cubed minus 5x squared minus 14x plus 40 divided by your factor is x plus 2. This is given to you as your factor here, x plus 2. Now we have to divide. So first question is, how can you make x become 6x cubed? You have to multiply by 6 first and then by x squared. So you will have 6x cubed here, and 2 times this will be plus 12x squared. So simplify, minus, this will go away. Minus 5 minus 12 will be minus 17 x squared minus 14x plus 40. Now next step, how can you make this become minus 17? You have to multiply by minus 17x. You will have minus 17x squared, and then this will become minus 34x. Simplify, this will go away. Now minus 14 minus 34, that will give you 20x plus 40. Now last question, how can you make x become 20? You have to multiply by 20x, so 20. So 20, this will be 20x plus 40, and that will become 0. So now you know that f of x can also be written as this value here, x plus 2 times the value on top, which is 6x squared minus 17x plus 20. Okay, so that is your answer. P, Q, and R are integers to be found. So P is 6, Q is minus 17, R is 20. Now for part 3, we have to solve the equation. So basically, the f of x is this function right now. We have to equate that to 0 to find the values of x. Solving means finding the values of x. So basically, x plus 2 is equal to 0. X will be minus 2, that is your one solution. And this one, let's check. So we have x, 6x squared minus 17x plus 20 is equal to 0. So now you can check if you can factorize this or not. So let's use our formula directly in that case. So we have x is equal to minus b plus minus b squared. So b squared is 17 squared minus 4 times a times c. That will be minus 191 divided by 2a, that is 12. But since the value here is negative, so it would not be a real root. So we have no root for this equation, which means you can write that because b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, we have no real root for this part of the equation. So the only answer we have is x equal to minus 2. That is the only solution for that equation. And this is your question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. So we have a matrix A is given to us, so we have to find A square. Now be careful, A square is not really, it's not A square, but it is A times A. Okay, now it'll be 4, 3, 2, minus 5, 4, 3, 2, minus 5. Rows by column, rows by column. So this is how you multiply matrix, rows by column. So 4 times 4 plus 2 times 3, that will be 22. So 4 times 2 plus 2 times minus 5, that will be minus 2. Okay, same thing, rows by column, rows by column. 3 times 4 plus minus 5 times 3, that will be minus 3. And you have 3 times 2 plus minus 5 times minus 5, that will be 31. So this is your answer for part 1, which is A square, which is equal to A times A. Now for part 2, we have to find 3A plus 4I. Now I, you know, must be your identity matrix. So 4I is basically 4 times 1, 0, 0, 1. And A, you know, it is given to you by 4, 3, 2 minus 5. But here we have 3A, so we have to multiply by 3. That will be 12, 6, 9, minus 15. Replace back in your equation. So 3A is 12, 9, 6 minus 15, and plus 4I is multiply inside. You have 4, 0, 0, 4. And let's simplify one by one. 12 plus 4 is 16, 6 plus 0 is 6, 9 plus 0 is 9, and this plus this will give you minus 11. And that is your answer for question number 2. Let's move on to part B. So here we have to find the inverse of this matrix. Now to find inverse, you first find the determinant of the matrix. So that will be cross multiply 6 times 3 minus 9 times 1. That will be 18 minus 9. That will be 27. Now we have to find the adjoint matrix. That will be 3, 6, change the position and change the sign of those two. So finally inverse will be 1 over determinant times your adjoint matrix. That will be your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, hence solve the equation. So whenever you see hence, it means you have to use your answer from here to solve this. So if you observe, we can rearrange this as something to help us with that. So if you look, if you write down this, if you take out 6 here, we have 1 here, we have minus 9, and here we have 3. That's this matrix, and this is basically your x and y. It is equal to 5 and 3 over 2. Now to get the value of x and y, we have to multiply this by its inverse to eliminate this, and multiply this by inverse on both sides. So if that makes sense, let's call this one matrix A, let's call this one Z, and call this one B, for example. So if you want to find Z, you have to eliminate A. So the way to eliminate, you have to multiply by this inverse on both sides. So this will go away. So Z is equal to A inverse times B. So same principle here. X and Y is equal to (1 over 27). That is the inverse matrix, 3, 9, minus 1, 6, times this one, which is 5, 3 over 2. So rows by column, 3 times 5 plus minus 1 times 3 over 2, divide by 27. That will be half. And same thing, 9 times 5 plus 6 times 3 over 2, divide by 27. That will be 2. Here you go. X is equal to half and y is equal to 2. Now of course you have to see your question, hence means to use the previous answers to solve this one, and that will be your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So given that n is a positive integer, so that is good to know, and it has to be more than 0, find the first 3 terms of this expansion. So one by one, let's try to find the first 3 expansion. So first term will be n, which is the power, choose 0, and the value inside will be 1 and 1/2, right? That will be 0, this will be 0, so this will be n. Now plus n choose 1, second term, and the inside values will be the same, just the powers will be changing. This is 1, this is 1, this is n minus 1. And then third term will be this one. So that will be 2, this will be 2, and this is n minus 2. Now simplify, n choose 0, anything choose 0, that will be 1. Okay? Now 1 power something is always 1, and something power 0 is always 1. Okay? And this will be n choose 1 times half x, and plus n choose 2 times 1 over 4 x squared. Now we have to simplify. You will have first term is 1 plus n choose 1 over 2x plus n choose 2 over 4x squared. Now we have to simplify this as well. If you look at your list of formulas, you will have something there to help you with that. So you will see the definition or the formula for that. It says n choose r is equal to this. So what is n choose 1? So we know that n choose r is given by n factorial over n minus r factorial times r factorial. So here we have n choose 1. That will be n factorial over n minus 1 factorial times 1 factorial. Now 1 factorial is just 1, we don't need that, but this can be simplified to something else. So n factorial is what it is, n times n minus 1 factorial. So over n minus 1 factorial, cancel out, so that will be n. So basically n choose 1 is n. So let's write this down. So right now we have 1 plus n over 2x. How about this one? N choose 2. So same steps, let's simplify this. Let me do this on this side. So now we have n choose 2. That will be n factorial over n minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. That will be n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 factorial over n minus 2 factorial times 2. So 2 factorial is 2, right? Now this will cancel out, and this will be n minus 1 over 2. So your answer here will be what? Replace back in your equation. So this on top will be this value, so it will be plus n minus 1 over 2, but we have to divide by 4, that will become 8 x squared. So this is your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, given that the coefficient of x squared of this expansion is this, find the value of n. So let's try. So here we have, on the left side we have this 1 minus x, and on the right side we know already that gives you 1 plus n over 2 x plus n times n minus 1 over 8 x squared. Okay, so we only care about the coefficient of x squared. So if you take 1, you have to multiply by something in x squared, it will be this. And if you take this, you have to multiply by something in x to get you x squared. So 1 times this will be n minus 1 over 8 x squared. This is minus x times this one, n over 2 x. That will be n minus 1 over 8 x squared minus n over 2 x squared. Now let's simplify this. You will have something So n minus 1 over 8. So let's make this become 8 as well. So minus over 8. How can you make 2 become 8? You have to multiply by 4. Multiply by 4, you'll have 4n. And you take out x squared. And simplify, that will be n squared minus n minus 4n, that should be minus 5n over 8 x squared. So now we know the coefficient of x squared, which is this value here, is equal to 25 over 4. So we can just equate that with this. So from the equation, n squared minus 5n over 8 is equal to 25 over 4. So now we can just simplify. Divide by 4 on both sides. That will be 1. That will be 2. Then we cross multiply. That will give you n squared minus 5n equal to 50. So simplify, n squared minus 5n minus 50 is equal to 0. Now we can factorize. What are the factors of 50? We know it is 5 times 10. So we can choose 10, 5. To get minus 5, we have to use minus 10 and plus 5. So your answer, n can be 10 or n can be minus 5, but since n is given to be positive, n can only be 10. This one will be rejected. It tells you here n has to be a positive integer. That's why you choose n to be 10. That is your question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. So here we have to find the integration of this. So the first step is, let's try to make it easy for us. So what do you know about square root? You know that it is the power of half. It's the same thing, right? So let's write this down again. It is basically 2x minus 5 power half dx. Now we can integrate. So first thing, we have to increase the power by 1. So half plus 1 is 3 over 2. Then we have to divide by the power, and then divide by the differentiation of the inside value. So d by dx of this inside value will give you 2. And of course, plus c. So that will cancel out. So you have 1 over 3 times 2x minus 5, 3 over 2 plus c. This is your first answer. Now for part 2, hence means we have to use the value from the first one. Solve this. So as you can see, it's the same thing here. So we know that this will give you 1 over 3, 2x minus 5, 3 over 2, and the limits will be 15 and 3. So one by one, I can first take out the value of 1 over 3 because it is only a multiple. The inside value will be 2 times 5 minus 5, 3 over 2. So it's 15, not 5, 15. Okay, 15. And then we have minus 2 times 3 minus 5, 3 over 2. So let's simplify. Outside is 1 over 3. 2 times 15 is 30. 30 minus 5 is 25. So 25, 3 over 2 minus 2 times 3 is 6. Minus 5 is 1. So 1, 3 over 2. So let's find this. So 25 power 3 over 2. That will be 125. So this is 125, and power, 1 power anything is 1. So your answer is 1/3 times 124. That will be 124 over 3 as your answer. That will be part 2 of question number 10. Let's move on to part B. So here we have to find d by dx of this function. Now if you observe, you can see that it is a product, so we have to use the product rule. Okay, so d by dx of the product. So the first thing you have to write is, you can choose, let's first write the first one as it is, and you have to multiply by d by dx of the second one, and then plus the second one as it is, multiply by d by dx of the first one. That will give you x cubed times 1 over x plus ln of x times 3x squared. That will give you x squared plus 3x squared ln of x. And this is your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, it tells you to hence meaning again, it means to use the previous value to find this. Now if you observe, what did we learn from the previous value? So differentiate this, you will get this. So it means that if you were to integrate this, right, you are supposed to get back the same initial value. That's what we'll have learned from part 1. So how can we use this to find this? You observe that here we have something, this, and here we also have the same thing. So we have to make it become the subject of formula. So let's first break this down. You will have this plus 3 x dx is equal to x cubed ln of x. So let's make this become the subject. You will have 3. This dx will be equal to x cubed ln of x. We send this over here, become minus dx. So simplify. So this is the same thing for now. dx, and this will give you x cubed ln of x minus x cubed over 3. Okay, and finally we have to just find this one. We have to divide by 3 everywhere. You will have x cubed ln of x over 3 minus x cubed over 9. This is your answer. You can stop right here, and that is your answer. Now you can simplify if you want to, make everything become the base of 9. That will become 3 x cubed ln of x minus x cubed. This is your answer for part 2. That is your question number 10. Okay, now we have to move on to question number 11. So we have cos 2x and sec 2x equal to this value right here, 0. So the angle are the same, 2x and 2x, that is okay. Now we can see that here we have sec. So what is sec? Sec 2x is equal to 1 over cos 2x. So let's replace the value in your equation. You will have cos 2x plus 2 over cos 2x plus 3 has to be 0. Now to eliminate the denominator, we have to multiply by cos 2x everywhere. You will have cos square 2x plus 2 plus 3 cos 2x equal to 0. Now simplify, rearrange, so you have cos 2x plus 3 cos 2x plus 2 equal to 0. Now if this is hard for you to work with, you can do this. You can let u equal to cos x. You will see you have, so this is basically cos 2x square plus 3, sorry, cos 2x, not cos x, plus 2 equal to 0. Now we can simplify. That will be u square plus 3u plus 2 equal to 0. Now you see this one is a simple quadratic equation. You can simplify, you can factorize. So 2 brackets, that will be u times u and 2 times 1 plus to get plus 3. So u will be minus 1, or u can be minus 2. Now of course you don't want to find the value of u. You know u is this. So replace back. Cos of 2x is equal to minus 1, and cos of 2x is equal to minus 2. So this one will be rejected, and the reason is because you have to know that cos of 2x, or any x values, can only be between 1 and minus 1. That's why it cannot be minus 2. So okay, that is why it is rejected. Now let's continue on this side for this one. So right now we have cos 2x equal to minus 1. Now when it is negative, it will be in your second quadrant and your third quadrant. This is basically 180 minus theta, and this is 180 plus theta. So whenever I have negative value here, I like to work with a different angle. For example, I like to first find the value of theta, which is not your answer. Theta will be cos inverse of the positive value of 1. We have to use degrees. That will be 0. If this is 0, we have to use that to find the value. So now 2x will be according to your quadrants. So that will be, first one is 180 minus theta, which is 180. Also the same thing. So we will not take the same value twice. So we know 2x has to be 180. So which means x has to be the value of 180 divided by 2. That should be 90 degrees. Okay, so that will be. So I did realize that I was missing one value in this answer, because the reason why is because I did not observe the domain. Domain was x was between 0 and 360, but here we have 2x, as you can see. Not the same. So if you do something here, is because 2x will be between what? 0 and 720. So it is a much bigger domain than the initial x. So in that case, you have to try to find another value for x. You have to add 360 to 180. Plus 360, that will give you 540. And then finally divide by 2 for your value of x. That will be also 270. So x will be two values, which is 90 and 270, which is both between your initial domain. So that will be this question part A should be two values, 90 and 270 instead of just one because of the 2x. Your answer for part A, to find the value of x, it shows to be only 90. Okay, now let's move on to part B. So this one is function in terms of sine, but the angle here is y minus pi by 6. So let's see what can we do for this one. Let's see, what do we have? So first we have to make make sine become the subject of formula. So let's do that. You will have sine square y minus pi by 6 is equal to 1 over 2. So sine become the subject. That'll become plus minus root of 1 over 2. Okay, so now we have two values that are possible, because one is a positive value and one is the negative value. Right, so one will be sine of y minus pi by 6 equal to negative 1 over 2, or let's do this here, or it can be sine y minus pi by 6 be the positive value. Right, now one by one. So when sine is negative, it has to be in your third quadrant and your fourth quadrant. So third quadrant is what? It is 180, which is pi plus theta, and this is 2 pi plus theta. Okay, so now to find the value of this angle, whenever it is negative here, I like to use a different method, which is first find the value of theta, which is not your answer. That will be sine inverse of the positive value of the value here. That will give you, let's see, sine inverse of root 0.5. That will be 45 degrees. 45 degrees is pi by 4. Okay, that is your value of theta, which is not your answer. Your answer will be y minus pi by 6 has to be according to the quadrants. So first one will be pi plus this will be pi over 4 plus pi, and then this is minus, so 2 pi minus pi by 4. That will be your two values for this angle. So you have this equal to pi this plus pi and plus pi by 6, and 2 pi minus pi by 4 plus pi by 6. So let's see what do we get. Okay, so 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6, that will be 5 over 12 pi And for this one, 2 minus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6, that will be 1, 11 over 12 pi. So for now we have this, but you can see that the value of y is only between 0 and 1 pi. So these two will be outside the range, so we cannot take those two values. So now we have to look at this one. So now since this is positive already, we don't need to go through this route. We can just find the angle now. Y minus this is equal to, so we know this is pi by 4. And we know that when sine is positive, it will be in your first quadrant and your second quadrant. Right? So first one is just the value. Second one is, it is 180, which is pi minus the angle here. So pi minus pi by 4. Now y will be pi by 4 plus pi by 6, and then pi minus pi by 4 plus pi by 6. So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6, that will be 5 over 12 pi. 1 minus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6, that will be 11 over 12 pi. So check. Now you can see this value of y is between that domain, so we can take these two values for B to be your answer. That will be part B of the question. Question number 12. Okay, so here we have a particle P. It moves in a straight line such that t seconds after leaving a point O, its v is given to you by this equation. Okay, now we have to find the value of t when the velocity p stops increasing. Okay, so how do we know when it stops increasing? We know that it happens when dv by dt is equal to 0. That's when it stops increasing. Now you know v is given to you by 36t minus 3t squared, so dv by dt will be 36 minus 60 equate to 0. So t will be equal to 36 divided by 6, that will be 6 seconds. That will be your answer for part 1. Now for part 2, find the value of t when p comes to rest. Find the value of t when p comes to rest. So at rest, you have to know, what do you know? The value of v is 0. So v you know already, it is 36t minus 3t squared is 0. So factorize t outside, you have 36 minus 3, t equal to 0. So t can be 0. 36 minus 3t can be 0. T will be 36 divided by 3, that will be 12. So the value of t when p comes to rest will be 12. So why don't we take this one? Because this one we know already. At first it is always going to be at rest. Most of cases, that's why we don't take this one. We take this one as your answer. Now for part 3, we have to find the distance of p from O when p is at rest. So we know that p is at rest when t is equal to 12. So we have to find the value of s, which is the displacement at t equal to 12. So right now we know v is equal to 36t minus 3t squared. We have to find the value of s. So s is equal to integration of v by dt. That will be integration of 36t minus 3t squared dt. That will be 36t squared divided by 2 minus t cubed. Of course, plus c. So let's simplify. S will be 18t squared minus t cubed plus c. You have to find this value of c now. So how can you find that? You have to know this something is when t is equal to 0, initially the value of s will be 0. This is true for all the cases unless stated otherwise. Unless they tell you something about this, if nothing is told about this, you have to know that it is always true. When t equal to 0, s has to be 0 as well. So you have s is 0, so that will be 0 equal to 18 times 0 minus 0 plus c. So you can see c will have to be 0. So finally, s will be just this equation. Okay, so now we can use this value of s at time equal to 12. That will give you 18 times 12 square minus 12 cube. 18 times 12 square minus 12 cube will be 864, and that will be in terms of meters, because you can see the speed has been given to you by meters per second, so you know it has to be meters as well. Let's double check. 18 times 144 minus 12 cube. Yep, same value. So that is your answer for part 3. Now let's move on to part 4. So we have to find the speed of p when p is again at O. So when p is again at O means that it is at the initial position. So you know that at O, at the point O, we know that displacement from O has to be 0. So s has been found already by 18 t squared minus t cubed. So 18 t squared minus t cubed has to be 0 at the point O. So factorize t squared, you will have 18 minus t is equal to 0. So t squared can be 0, or t can be 18, or t can be 0. This will be rejected. So t will be 18 for your answer. Now you have to use this value of t to find the speed. You know that the velocity has been given to you by this equation, which is 36t minus 3t squared. So replace t by 18. You will have v equal to 36 times 18 minus 3, 18 squared. 18 squared, that will give you minus 324 meters per second. Now be careful, this is your velocity. As you guys know by now, velocity is a vector quantity which has a magnitude and direction. So the minus sign is only direction, but here we want to find the speed. Speed is only a scalar quantity. Speed will be only the value but not the sign. 324 meters per second. That will be your speed. Okay, so that was the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.